Well, hello folks. What are we doing today? We're going to have a look at a little haul of engines that I have just acquired. So, if you guys are some of my original viewers or even the new viewers, and you joined the channel mainly because I did a lot of engine content, you're going to want to stay for this video. You really are going to want to stay for the full length of this video, because I have got not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, but 13 new engines in one lot. You haven't seen these before. A couple of you may have noticed on Facebook, on the Station Engine Group, I did post one sneaky picture last night. But apart from that, you've never seen these. No one's ever seen these. Now, these engines, before I start, don't go thinking any of these are going to be a clean the points, put petrol in them and they'll run. These are a prime example of how not to store an engine. Now, these engines came from a farm near Ely in Cambridgeshire, and they'd been sitting in an old articulate lorry trailer for over 10 years in a field. And unfortunately, the conditions inside that container were not exactly perfect. They'd been dripped on, that must have had a leaky roof. They have got wet. Certainly not the ideal way to store engines. So these are very much project engines, but mainly complete, with the exception of a couple. And yeah, I think we'll stop my yabbling on, and we'll go and have a look at what we've got. Right, let's get you out of this tripod so we can go outside and have a look. Now, the first engine you have seen, that is the little Norman. That did come out of that container, and I think that's going to be by far the easiest engine to get running, because that was just clean the points up. So that is the first one that arrived out of the container. The rest arrived yesterday. So we'll have a brief look over some of these little ones what were just chucked in the back. Have been put under the tarpaulin. Yeah, will these ones run again? Possibly, some of them. Possibly some of these will run again. But there's one here, another one here, one over the back there, another little one here. So there's 4 of them here. All this stuff came in the same load as well, including this old wood lathe. There's several of these little presses, aren't these little arbor presses, aren't they? Nice, look at them. So I got 1, 2, 3, there's another one round the corner, a little press. Some bits and pieces, a box there with some bits in, some fuel tanks, exhaust pipes, not the list of diesel, that was already here. There's about 4 old lathe chucks in there, another engine in bits, couple of electric motors. This was all in the guy's scrap bin, ready to go down the scrap yard. Had to be saved. You've seen the list of D, what's going to be raffled. Now then, this is going to sound odd to you, but in the bottom of that scrap bin, there was this little tin here. Got water in the bottom still, look. So not been stored correctly. But look at that, for an ornate cylinder. And I saw this cylinder in the top and I thought, I wonder if the rest of this engine's here. Then I see the head, complete with original Lodge spark plug. And then I saw a piece of crankcase with a piston. And I thought, do you know, I think this, all the bits for this engine could possibly be here. Then I spotted a flywheel, a carburetor, another piece of the crank, what goes over there. So your cylinder then goes on there, your head goes on the top. I think there's a carburetor in here, and I haven't been through the rest of it. I don't know whether this has anything to do with it. This is probably off another engine. But yeah, there's even a flywheel. And I thought, do you know, it's possible this one could be reassembled, cleaned, and get going. So I'm actually quite excited to do this. But this is going to be a little bench top one, what we'll do sometime over the winter. I also noticed a spark tester. Now then, At first sight, I weren't sure what this was, and then I thought about it and thought, hang on, that's a spark tester. I like how the little wheel has got different length pegs on it, so you can turn it round, so to see how far your spark will jump, so you can test magnetos on this. It'll fire the spark, and you can see how big a gap it'll jump to tell you how strong your magneto is. Isn't this a lovely little thing? Solid cast, obviously not been used for years. But I think as a little benchtop video one day, I'm going to fully restore this thing. Literally fully restore it. Take the plug out, clean everything, paint it up nice, and screw it on a bit of wood, and we can actually use this to test our magnetos. I'm really, really impressed with that little thing. Right, you're waiting for the bigger engines, aren't you? Well, here's one of them. This is a little Bernie, or a little Bernard. She's a water pump flavour. She has a water pump direct coupled. We do need to make up a donut to go in here. There should be a rubber donut to couple these all up, and that's sadly missing. But the engine does turn. So this one does turn over and sound alright. But it's got zero compression. I mean zero compression. But I do love the brass priming cup on here. Oh, and the tap turns, look. This flange was in the scrap bin, but I think that does line up with them bolts and go on there. Or would it go on this one? Wouldn't have a clue. Could go on either. But yes, this is a little Bernie. Unfortunately, the engine plate is missing, but the guy said don't panic. He think he knows where it is. He think he come across it. So we'll open him up. Oh, I see instantly there's a push rod hanging out. So our valve rockers are seized up, but the engine itself isn't. It actually turns. There we go. Our engine turns. I like the direction of rotation on here. So yes, a lovely little Bernie original pump set on original trolley. Look at this little trolley. Little radiator around this side. This is a fabulous little thing. Absolutely fabulous. Even got its exhaust. I think there's meant to be a cap on here, but that's gone, and sadly moisture has got on that rocker shaft and seized it up. So I think somehow this tin work will come off here, and then we can get this rocker shaft oiled up, get the push rod back in, and hopefully we'll have some compression again. She just needs a good lube up. You got to remember, these have been sitting in unperfect conditions for over a decade, so we're just about getting them in time. So I reckon another 3 or 4 years and these would have started to be beyond repair. But isn't that a lovely little original set on original trolley? Little Bernard. There we go. If any of you guys, I don't like talking finances on here, but if any of you guys have an idea of what this is worth, please let me know, because I've never seen one and I'm quite curious as to what this thing might actually be worth when that's done, when running. I really don't know. Anyhow, let's go and look at some more. But you're thinking, oh, is that it? A load of little engines and a Bernie. There's a bit more than that. A little bit more than that. Where's that other press I got? Oh, here we go. Also gotten chucked off. Look at these. These were in the scrap bin. A pair of old motorbike number plates as well. And I just took them. A little aluminium cutter. Look at that little Nimrod. Where you put something in there and you cut. Isn't that a nice little thing? And a big old hand crank pillar drill. Look at that. This was all going in the scrap, and I was like, no, can't scrap that. Anyhow, you want to look at engines, don't you? So we've got to come up here to this trailer. So the trailer was dropped off with the engines on, and I was told, you know the lot, trailer as well. So there we go. What have we got on here? We have a Lister CS. She looked like the 6.1 to me. She's the spoked flywheel variant. I did look up the serial number, there we go, to date this engine, and I think it's 1943 it came up as. So yes, we have a CS where one of the turn wheels on the head missing, which is a shame, but I'm sure we can drop onto one of them. It's got a non-original fuel tank, but non-original exhaust, but it turns over. We have another one of my favourites. This one is Mrs. Mancave's engine, because if you remember that little Crossley she had when we bought this house back in January, we had to let a few engines go to relieve some funds, because we needed a bit of money quickly for house stuff, and yeah, I had to sell 4 engines. Mrs. Mancave's Crossley was one of them. That's now been returned. It's not a 1030 anymore, this time it's a 1040. So this is a 1040, and you're like, this don't look right, there's no flywheel. No, there isn't. There's a compressor unit on this side. Now this engine is in a very, very poor state of affairs. It is seized up, it won't turn an inch. Whether it's seized up in the engine side of it or in the compressor side of it, or both, I don't know. Good things is, it has the magneto on it, so the mag is still there. All the covers are still there. Couple of things we're missing. The little priming tap that goes in the top, we're missing that. We're missing the carburetor, that's gone. Fortunately, oh, just look, the bolts and studs are still in there, that's good. So yeah, fortunately, these are all alright, that's still there. So we do need a carburetor for it. Yes, it is missing the fuel tank base. Someone's obviously shown up without that and had a separate fuel supply to it. If I can't get the fuel tank base, it's really not much of an issue, but we do need a carburetor for it. Everything on the, oh, that valve is seized. This one works, but everything's seized. This is seized. This shaft is seized, I think. What comes out from under here? Is there meant to be some sort of filter that's bent over? So yes, we have a Crossley 1040, sadly in quite a poor way. But I say, carb's missing, exhausters missing, fuel primer's missing, but drain tapper's there. Oh, even the governor rod is seized up. Yeah, we have a lot of freeing off to do on this. Freeing up governor weights. Like I say, these were not ideally stored, but it don't look like there's any frost damage in there. That looks good. Can't see any frosting around here. So yes, yeah, and it's on a rudimentary trolley, but put some bigger wheels on it. I reckon this engine definitely, look at them old screws in here, look at them screws and nails. Look at that. I reckon this is definitely a good candidate. Well, the magneto has still got magnetism to it, because all the nails are stuck to it. Look at that. There's nails all stuck to the magnets in the back there. So we know the bloody mag has got magnetism. Right, what else have we got? Another one. Remember Mancave's original opening credits, where I sat beside that old green engine and said, welcome to the Mancave, and started it on the flywheel. That sadly was another engine that had to go. And it's another engine I've now got back. A Peta W1H. She is missing a carb and the exhaust, but that's pretty much the same as a Wolseley, so shouldn't be hard to get. Governor rod definitely needs a straighten out, because she's a bit Pete Tom. But we have a W1H. Rob Cole, I have one back, and this one is going nowhere. Yep. Because I know Rob was like, you sold your W1H. I know. We have a WD2 Wolseley here as well. Look at this. This one has the mag, has the carb. This engine's probably going to be one of the easiest to get going, because it is basically all here. Why is that fuel pipe tank? Why is that fuel pipe off there? I've just noticed that. That needs to be rerouted and put back on the tank. Why is that cranked up there? Never mind. Next engine. we'll have a minute of silence for this thing. Yep, it's a Lister D. Looks like it's on an original Lister trolley. Timbers no doubt aren't, but I think the metalwork is possibly original Lister D. But there we go, it's painted up. That one won't be restored, it'll just be cleaned and got running. Here, Lister Junior, or Lister A. Now this is a little A, she is again all complete, but everything is seized up. The governor rods are totally seized. Obviously there's nothing to seize on that. Oh, carb does turn, but the choke is totally seized. Oh, you won't get that off there, Fen. No. But yeah, we have a little Lister A. There is even some bits in the hopper. I not know what, but we have the handle. We have the handle for the Lister D as well. But this engine does turn again. So we've got one that turns. And then we're back to this CS. So this is all the trials and treasures that we have. Mrs. Man Cave's now coming out. Here she comes. She's now coming out to see the hall as well, I reckon.
Oh my word. This will keep you busy.
There's some rusty kelter there, isn't there?
There is. Some good rusty kelter.
Oh, very rusty kelter.
That's going to keep you busy for a bit.
That is going to keep us
It's a bit like
busy.
Christmas come early.
That is very much. Christmas come early indeed.
Bless you.
So yes. Are you off? Yeah. Right. I'll pause the video and say goodbye to Mrs. Man Cave. She's now gallivanting off to meet a friend for a posh coffee. Ah. Alright, there goes Mrs. Man Cave under the tree. She's now gone for a posh coffee with her friend. So it's doing a really good to go, actually, because she hasn't been out much the last 2 or 3 months. In fact, I think she's left the house about 3 times. So it's nice that she's feeling up to driving and going out. So that'll do her a world of good. Have fun, my darling. Back to the CS. Oh, even the decompressor is seized. Cool. This engine does turn, but yeah, push rods work. She does turn. Diesel pump turns. Problem with this engine is, I do like it's got the original catch pot with some, I don't know, it's either diesel or water in there, but yeah, it's nice. It's got that original catch pot. I like that. Right, let's come around this side. There's your engine number, like I've shown you. We have another engine. Oh, look at that. Cylinder diameter, oversized for 20,000. So this engine has been restored or reconditioned by Lister at some point to have that engine plate on there. She's got the filter. Now then, pump down there all turns. This diesel rack, the pull valve, I had to get this down yesterday, and that's really stiff, but the rack does not move in and out. Now that's about the only thing that concerns me, because the last time I had a CS and the rack was seized, I squirted it in WD and I tapped it either way with a small hammer gently, and it ended up busting up the inside of the pump. I am not going to make that same mistake there. That same mistake again. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to take this pump off, probably in this video, and hopefully these will all come undone, and we'll put this pump in a pot of diesel for a week or 2, and yeah, clean all this up with some wire wool after about a week and see if we can get this freed off, because I have a feeling if this pump was freed off and we can get some compression back on this, because at the minute it's got none, I think we'll be all right. I think this Lister CS will be up and running. So, what are the plans for these engines, you say? Well. A lot of these engines are going to be going up for sale once I have them running. I won't be painting them, I won't be prettying them. I'm going to get them running and sell a couple of them. So the CS will be up for sale, this Lister will be up for sale, this Lister A, and this Lister D will be up for sale. the little grey pump up there, the little Bernie, I think that'll probably be up for sale as well. So if any of you guys are interested in any of these engines, let me know. Because the only ones I really want to keep, the Wolseley, the W1H, the Crossley. You know, the Norman might possibly come up for sale as well. But I am quite smitten with that. So that might end up staying with me. I'll see how things go. So yes. Unfortunately, since Mrs. Mancave's been off work, and the lovely system we live in, we cannot claim any financial assistance. I know it's all wrong. Yeah, we can't claim any financial assistance because I work 20 hours a week and we got too much money that we don't need any help to live. Unfortunately, sadly, in reality, that is not the case, because with what I earn in my YouTube, it has to basically keep the house going, and it's very, very tight. Because Mrs. Mancave is now only on statutory sick pay, which is about 112 quid a week. But there you go. And now, sadly, for the next 18 months, we won't better claim anything while she's off work and recovering. So, Mr. Mancave's going to have to do what he can to try and make a few shekels to keep the wolf from the door, and getting some engines and doing them and getting rid of them will certainly help with that. So yes, right, oh, I do like this little Bernie. Did I show you inside? Did I show you in there? I believe I did. Yeah, there's the little engine. And there you go. I thought initially this was 2-stroke, but then I noticed the push rods and valves and thought, no, it's got to be a 4-stroke. Oh yeah, it looks like down there is your oil drain. Or is that a water drain? No, there's your water drain. That must be an oil drain. Silly me, she's 4-stroke. So yes, I think the first thing we're going to do on this video, so you're not just looking at a bunch of engines, is we'll take the diesel pump off that CS. And yeah, get that put in a pot of diesel. So we're set up. I have a 7/16 Whitworth, which goes on the fuel union. I have a 5/16 Whitworth that goes on the pump bolts. So let's see. I think the first thing we can do is squirt all this down to give this thing the best chance of coming undone. Because we do not want to damage that diesel pipe. That might be past redemption anyhow, that might be rotted through. But we want to take off this diesel pump. So while that's soaking, which will take a couple of minutes, I think I'm going to see if I can get a pair of pliers and draw this little pin out to disconnect this pump from the engine. And then we can free all the governor linkage off while we're in there. Right then guys, it's been a few minutes. I think what I'm going to do is get my little drill brush on here and try and clean up this end. I see that split pin is loose. I see that split pin did just move. I do not want to damage, yeah, that split pin's moving. Nip him up gently and hopefully that'll pull out. Oh, the pin is out. Put that in my little box down here. Then see if we can get, see if that pin will actually come out. Let's get a pair of pliers, see if we can twist it. Yep, the pin's twisting. Yep, that is twisting. Will that now push through? No. Let's give it a little bit more juice. There we go. Let me go around the other side, see if I can pull up from the other side. Alright, excuse camera shake, but we are on the trailer. So I'm on this pin the other side. Oh, look at that, it's coming out. Look at that. So the pin's out, which now means, yep, this throttle is now disconnected, which which is good. So our throttle linkage is starting. There you go, throttle linkage is free. I can hear the governors move inside the engine. Brilliant. That is extremely good news, guys. So now we've got that pump disconnected, let's hope we can get this fuel union undone. And I hope it's not going to turn the diesel pipe while it does it. Come on, work with me. Yes, look at that. Whew. Oh, some air coming out. Thank goodness that diesel pipe come undone. There we go, that's off. Oh my word, there's some crud in there. We might have to undo some disassembly in this pump to clean him out. And then will the body bolts come undone? Can't get the ring end on. Oh, look at that, they're coming undone. Even engines that aren't stored correctly, look. Everything comes undone on them. Unbelievable. That's one out. In my little pot. Ah, this has got to be an awkward one in here, isn't it? Oh, it undoes, look at that. It undoes. This has got to be awkward, quarter a turn at a time, guys. Hang on. That might actually be loose enough. No, that won't quite do with our fingers. I thought it might, guys. I thought we might get that with our fingers. Yeah, we can. Surely that'll come with the fingers now. Ow. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, the pump is just about off. There we go. So, the bolt is out. Oh. There you go, bolt is out. Oh, that pull valve is right in the way. But at least that valve, that's now free, look. Right, we can get the bolt out. The back here, there we go. And the washer. So that should be our pump disconnected from the engine. So I reckon I'd... Oh, no, look what we haven't done. How did I forget the big fuel pipe? I'm going to have to go get a bigger spanner. Right, we are back. I think I don't want to go yanking that pump about, so I'm going to put one bolt back in while I undo that union. Because I don't want the whole pump to twist on its base, if that makes sense. So I've stuck one bolt back in. There we go. And I'll see if this union will hopefully come undone. So I got the Whitworth adjustable out today. There she comes. Do you know, I think diesel's dripping out of that damn thing. There is, look, we got diesel dripping out of there. Well, that's good. Look at that. Well, she's got diesel in it, guys, so that's a good thing, isn't it? And if you're thinking, oh, that's dripping diesel everywhere, well, there's no diesel tap. And to be honest with you, I think once that's drained out of this pipe, let me crack it off at the top to let the air in. So, that'll hopefully just empty the diesel flow. There you go, I stopped now. Now I've let air in at the top. So I think it was like siphoning. There we go, that's loose at the top. So that should stop. Have I got the right size spanner in my kit for this? Next one up, I think. Saves using that horrible adjustable. That's the one we need, look. They got 9/16 Whitworth here, look. There we go. Come on. Come on. There we are. Well, that's really good news that this diesel pump, there goes a copper washer. That's really good news that that diesel pump doesn't have water in it. That is definitely diesel come out of that. So I'm going to take all this off, pipe and all, so that can all be cleaned. There we are. But now we need to remove this pump from this engine, and then hopefully I can get it soaked and everything will go back in. We need to get that rack moving freely. If I can get that moving freely, I might not have the pump to pieces, because there is diesel in there. It's old, but diesel's not as crucial as petrol, guys. These old girls will basically run on anything. Alright, let's see if this pump will wiggle out of this engine. Cool. She is tight. Let's give her a tap. She's coming loose. You might go, oh, you animal. Well, sometimes there's no other way to do it. There's a washer on there, and the pump should now lift out. It won't, because the damn throttle linkage is in the way, look. So we've got to draw this throttle linkage. I'm not sure how, because that rack don't move. Alright, how can we take that throttle linkage out? Because it's on a pin where it needs to draw this way, and it won't come. That won't come down if I take that off. There's a greaser in there. Let me get up here, guys. I can't really see what I'm doing. Right. Yeah, that pump will not lift out past. No, that won't come out past that throttle linkage. Well, would you credit that? So this throttle linkage, we do have to somehow, but you can't move the rack in. The rack won't move in to get this past it, which is a shame. So how are we going to do this? I do not want to tap on that rack, because I don't want to risk damaging nothing. No, I'm not tapping on that anymore. The last time I did that, I actually damaged the inside of the rack. That is starting to go, that rack. Just a tad. No, I am going to soak that. I'm going to have to find a way to get this off. But we can't slide this whole thing this way because the rack is stopping it. Although I think that pump will turn. Alright, let me get my side cutters. Oh, that split pin's come out. And let's see if the whole thing will slide off. No, it won't, look. It won't slide off because everything's in the bloody way. Alright, come on, girl. Come on. Come on.
Make sure you take the right bit off.
That's John, the crazy neighbour. Don't worry, we're taking it off. Listen at him. Alright, come on, baby. That is so close to being out of there, guys. Alright. Everything's got such tight tolerances that it won't just wiggle its way out. That rack, I'm afraid, might have to be freed up in situ. I don't like it, but it might have to be. I do not want to be banging on that. And I don't want to go putting any heat on it, because that could damage rubber components inside the engine, inside the pump, sorry. It's good that that pump has stayed wet inside, so the internals will be alright. Yeah, she's lifting on the cam, so we know the cam's working. Look, there you go. Alright. That rack just went then, guys. There we go. Look, the rack's free. Look at that. It's free. That is brilliant. So now I can work this governor off and get this pump out. There we are. Pump is off. And that rack is free again, look. But I will take this inside. Now we've come this far, and give it a good clean, just to make sure that rack is 100% free. Let's get back in the shed. So we are on the outdoor bench. We have our diesel pipe here, our pump, our little drill, some wire wool and WD. We're going to free up this rack a little bit more before I start cranking it too much, because we have a lot of rust on that rack and we need to clean all this shaft up, both sides. It's gone for a little bit more. Will it go back the other way? Oh yes. I think that it isn't seized inside the pump, because luckily that had stayed full of diesel, as you saw. It's just the outside of this shaft had surface rust, which had stopped it. So give him a good soak down. There's a rack on the back here, look, and that's where that valve has come clean now. Look, this rack should be, look at that, that is as free moving as it should be. We've got a little bit of rust coming out of there, but we can just keep working this pump. There you go, she's got the full travel now. She's on full travel, guys. Oh yeah. That rack is free. Absolutely perfect, that. There you go, guys. There you go. You can see our piston in the bottom, what the engine pushes on. We're pushing on that piston. So I think this pump, you can take these pump to bits, but it can be quite a specialist job to set these up. And I think I'm not going to risk taking it to pieces, not now we've freed that rack up. I mean, it feels exactly how it should, because the last time I tapped on one of these to free it up, it felt notchy, it didn't go through smoothly, and it had chewed the inside of the pump up, and I ended up having to get another pump. But this feels exactly how it should, and because this pump had diesel going through it, I think the internals are fine. All this rack does, is turn a rod. There's another, because you can see your geared rack on the back. What these gears do, as they engage, with a rod with a sprocket on and just turn a rod in and out to control your fuel supply. It's as simple as that. So that'll be flat out, that'll be off. You know what I mean? So that's turned it off, that's turned it flat out. And if you wonder what this valve is for, you have it there for starting. So you're holding the throttle basically half open for when you start it. And then when that's running, that'll flick up so your governor can work. But that is your start valve. Basically you put him up there, flat out, start, and that's off. But yeah, that is turning freely. That is working perfectly. Aha. So yeah, very happy with that diesel pump. What's this pipe doing? Do you know, I think that pipe, I was worried there might have been water in this system, but no. Everything is coated in diesel, which is brilliant. That is brilliant news. Everything's coated in diesel. There we go, an airplane. I'll tell you, in this wind, he's struggling to move, guys. He's moving sideways, he's crabbing. There's an airplane above me and he is most certainly crabbing. And look like he's fighting with some wind up there. But there you go, he's coming. I'm not going to stop this to show you him, but we're just going to clean the outside of this pipe up so it ain't so manky. I love a bit of wire wool for this sort of thing, you know. There we go. This is perfect. Alright, let's give this a clean. A wipe up. There we go. Hasn't that made that diesel pipe look so much better? There we are, guys. Diesel pipe cleaned up. Diesel pump cleaned up. And it's nice to notice that the engine has had a rebuild at some point. Of course, she's got the brass plate that says 20 thou over. So she's obviously done a lot of running in her life, so much so that she needed a rebuild. And for a Lister CS to need a rebuild, boy oh boy, that must have done some hours. There we are. There we go, guys. So I think these bits can go in the shed until we're ready to put them back on the engine. Ah. There we go. Right. So all these banjos are cleaned up. So I think we can screw all this back on. There we go. And we'll store this in the shed until we're ready to put it back on the CS. I will just point out that the petrol tank on the CS, or should I say the diesel tank, was bone dry. Literally bone dry, I'll show you that. Alright, we're back with the CS. I have put the bolts back in, the washers, I'll put the little pin back in, the split pin back in here. So yes, everything's back in so it don't get lost. This one's back in. But what I was going to show you was, we had clear diesel coming out of this union here. So this filter housing's obviously full of diesel. But you look at the tank, it's been sitting with no cap on it. And that is bone dry. Not even, there you go, there isn't even sign of a sweat. So when you look inside that tank, oh my god, that's gunky. I think we're going to have to take this tank off at some point. And yeah, put some shingle in there and try and rattle some of that rust out, because that is bad. Admittedly, the filter will catch it, but you don't want to go block the filter up with all that crud. So yes, luckily the filter has stayed full of diesel. That was definitely diesel coming out of there, not water. So yeah, it's good that the pump hasn't had water ingress. It's all, you know, been kept wet with diesel for the last 10, 15 years. So that's brilliant news. The injector pipe, I don't know whether we'll get away with that. Possibly. I shan't give it too much stick. I might hit it with some wire wool at some point. But before we do any of that, we've got a job of yeah, trying to get compression back on the old girl, because she has zero compression. That's undoing, look. Let's get this valve box off while we're here. I'll take this valve box off and see. Cool. 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 I'm trying to do this one-handed, guys. Cool. She ain't been off for a number of years. There we go. Oh my word. Well, there's what she's like inside. That's weird. I thought there was meant to be another turn nut on top there. There isn't. This is different to my CS. My CS has got another turn knob to hold the top on. This hasn't. There's a hole which gives you access to this little needle. What does that little needle do on there, guys? What's this little turn wheel on here? My CS don't have that. Bizarre. So yeah, we need to try and see why we're not getting any compression. Because our valves are working. There might be a bit of carbon under one of them valves, just stopping things, valvulating. Cool. Cool. I can see this push rod. This one is free and turning, look. This one is not. So I'm wondering, we've got a valve hanging open. That's what it is. Look down the bottom where this feather and that is. Take this crap off. I think, yeah, this cam follower is sticking open. Watch. Look how reluctant it is to spring back down. See? That should be right down. Yeah, that's our problem. Well, no compression. That's holding that valve. Yeah, because you can't turn the push rod like you can this side. So that tells me this valve is being hung open by that, which is why we've got no compression. So that should be an easy fix and mean I don't have to have the head off. That's weird. There's a couple of differences between this CS and my CS. My CS has got a brass oiler on here. You know, little oiling cup to keep this lubricated. This hasn't. So I reckon you've got to get in here regular with the oil can. Because there's no oil feed getting pumped up here. Or I don't think there is. This is very interesting. Right, we're going to leave this video here. It's plenty long enough. Next time I think we'll be sorting out, trying to get some compression back on this old girl. Get the diesel pump back on. Get some diesel in it. Oh, clean that tank. Get some diesel in it. See if the old girl will run. But that is going to be it. Oh, that decompression season. Oh, we've got a lot of freeing off to do. Like I said, these were always going to be heavy recommissions. But there you go, we'll see. Right, I'm going to go, guys. I will see you next time. And we'll probably be doing a little bit more to that CS. Or we might have a little look at something else. So you guys don't get bored. Right, see you next time. Bye-bye for now. Our engine collection with Lister CS Diesel.